As the series moved into the Black Ops era, the horror elements started to fade into the background. I remember playing it and feeling something I haven't felt in years. True dread. This map went deep, deliberately tapping into our most primal fears. It was meticulous in design, and it brought back that creeping unease that horror fans live for. Yet, despite all that, it wasn't received well at launch. There were gameplay changes, steep learning curves, and new mechanics that just threw players off. So what even happened? How did Zetsubou No Shima go from being one of the most dismissed and overlooked zombie maps to becoming one of the most unique, atmospheric, and well-respected zombie maps within the franchise? Or at least high up there on the list. So let's dive in and find out. Zombies has always had a complicated relationship with horror. Most fans would agree that World at War is where the mode felt most grounded in actual fear-haunting ambient sounds, gritty visuals, and a constant feeling of dread. It felt like survival horror back in the day. Black Ops 1 and 2 followed, shifting the focus towards more cryptic lore and deep conspiracy-style storytelling. The horror was still there, but more in the mystery and atmosphere than in actual fear. Trying to untangle the plot was like falling into a bottomless rabbit hole, confusing, chaotic, but weirdly addicting. Most of the people watching right now, I would assume, probably started playing zombies within Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2. It was when the series basically started to blow up. Then later on in the series, World War II zombies happened, and we don't really talk about that. Then came Zetsubou No Shima. Strange, beautiful, grotesque. It felt like the genre had finally found its spine again. This map rekindled that long-lost fear factor, the eerie lighting, creepy visuals. Everything was carefully placed to immerse you in a world that felt alive and deeply wrong. It was unsettling in the best of ways. Sure, it looked like Shrek's swamp, but it was a swamp of nightmares. Tight corridors, relentless enemies, and especially the spiders. Oh, the spiders. Oh man, the spiders and their busted hitboxes, that was the scariest of them all. They were more frustrating than frightening. Players weren't just scared of them, they were pissed. Early on within Zetsubou as well, it was a mess. Glitches were everywhere, random bugs would ruin entire runs. Want to plant something for the Easter egg or try to grow a power-up plant? Nope, here's a spider, permanently stuck in your plant now. Other times the KT4 or Masamune just wouldn't work, or an invisible hitbox would just lead to an instant death. That kind of stuff makes a map feel unfinished and unfair. And it's not like something like this wasn't expected in Black Ops 3 when releasing each DLC Zombies map. Every map had its own unique mechanics, and with Zetsubou No Shima having multiple mechanics written into it, it's not surprising that a lot of them broke the game, and they did break the game quite a bit. Take the plant system for example. It had a cool concept. You plant a seed, you water it, and you could also fertilize it. Depending on the water used, you'd get different results like the crawler plant, which was supposed to trap a zombie, or spider for a while. Cool idea, right? Until it breaks the game. The glitch would leave your trap bugged. Your strategy is completely ruined now and your patience drained. You could spot the issue by the base of the plant. It looked like the proper crawler plant, but it just didn't function properly with the spider for some reason. And it wasn't just the crawler plant that had issues, other variations of plants also had issues similar to this. So then the question becomes, how did such a broken map become so beloved over time? I think to answer this, we need to dive deeper into Zetsubou. There's nothing more frustrating in gaming than executing a perfect plan, only to have it all fall apart because of one tiny oversight, and suddenly your flawless run is in ruins. This is exactly the kind of frustration that Zetsubou is going to throw at you. Take the cog step in the main Easter egg. For example, this is the only maps in Black Ops 3 where you must have the Anywhere But Here Gobblegum equipped just to access a hidden area. So you know what that means? No Gobblegum, no Easter egg, and you'd have to restart your run, especially if you made all the progress and forgot about this simple step. Honestly, a better design for that particular step would have been to tie a side Easter egg where in Zetsubou, say something was created, it would reward you with a Anywhere But Here Gobblegum. But that never happened, and we're left with an easy to forget mandatory step. And then there's the gunshell step, which is arguably even more punishing. You have to plant a seed, water it with blue water for 3 rounds, while also fertilizing it with the KT4 Masamune. And even after all that effort, the drop still isn't guaranteed. You could follow the process perfectly and still come up empty-handed. So to boost your odds, you'll want to plant 3 seeds at once and just hope RNG is kind. Or you can plant all the seeds within the map and still possibly not be guaranteed that gun shell. Obviously that's a bit outlandish, but I'm saying if the dice really just doesn't roll in your favor, that can happen. But let's just say you do get the gun shell. You're almost there, just load it into the gun and wait, why isn't it firing? Why did the plane not go down? Here's the kicker, even if you do everything right, the gun hit detection is so janky within Zetsubou. Players often miss the plane entirely because of this reason. And if you don't have any backup plans, there's no second bullet. You're forced to repeat the entire process over again. You just gotta plant more seeds, water for 3 more rounds, fertilize, and pray the dice rolls in your favor again. And we're not even done. We don't even have all the cogs to complete the Easter egg. The third cog arguably is the most rage-inducing step in this entire map. Once you complete 3 randomly assigned challenges, which I'll get into later, you need to electrify your shield by getting struck by lightning. Just before you go down into the zipline, you need to hit the actual purchase button and then melee at precisely the right moment so you drop on the dock and don't die. If your timing is even slightly off, you fall off the zipline and die instantly. Even quick revive won't save you, it just respawns you out of bounds and ends your game. And let me remind you, this is not an optional challenge or something you need to do as a side Easter egg, this is the main quest. So if you mess it up, if you fall out of bounds, you waste all those hours, that sucks. You gotta restart everything over again. And this is one of the things that frustrated people so much, was hours of progress being wasted because of a simple mistake and a simple design flaw, where if solo players especially were to fall out of the map, at least they would possibly respawn within the boundaries of the map. You would hope the game would recognize that, but it didn't. Even too, if you are completing the Easter egg, there are other third-party factors that are just out of your control. And I'm not talking about just poor hit detection, I'm talking about death barriers during the zipline, unkillable enemies glitching out of the map, spider plants locking other plant areas. Shout out to the crawler plant one more time. Treyarch did eventually patch some of this, but the damage was already done. At launch, Zetsubou was chaos, and the deeper you go, the more it becomes clear. This map demands perfect preparation. Miss 1 round of watering, the plant dies. Start over. Get unlucky with your drops, start over. Even something as small as forgetting your loadout can wreck an entire run if it just slips your memory. It's no wonder this map was hated at release. This wasn't the casual, fast-paced zombies experience players were used to. It was methodical, punishing, and required long-term thinking. And let's be real, Call of Duty players, we hate change, and myself included. And remember those random challenges I mentioned? Some are fine, but others, they're evil. Here's 2 of the worst ones within the entire list. Kill a Thrasher before it becomes enraged. They either don't care that you exist, or suddenly they're sprinting at you like you insulted their deadlift PR. There's no predicting them and no consistency to catch them before they freak out. Kill 8 spiders using spores. This one is just a nightmare. You need proper positioning, luck, and just the AI to work in your favor at that time. The AI for the spiders is awful. They'll run in every direction, but the one you want, maybe you'll get 2 or 3 with 1 spore if you're lucky, but finishing this challenge before round 10, good luck. Even as a seasoned zombies player as myself, these challenges can just ruin a run entirely. It's a quick restart for your games. And the fact that they're also randomized just adds that unpredictability within Zetsubou as well, on top of everything else I've mentioned already. But to be fair, there are upsides about Zetsubou. Once you complete your trials, your shield can protect your back and also create special interactions with specific machinery around the map, such as traps or lowering the price of things, being able to do side Easter eggs such as the spider venom. But that doesn't undo the countless failed attempts and hours lost to mechanics that feel more punishing than rewarding. With that said, when you put the Easter egg aside and look at the atmosphere, Zetsubou No Shima does something special. It brings fear back to zombies. Black Ops 3 was peak zombies for a reason, and Zetsubou proves Treyarch had a vision, a return to tension, mystery, and dread. The map's zombies design and overgrown research facility pulls you back into what made zombies so terrifying in the first place. And speaking about those laboratories, those labs are genuinely bone-chilling. These places where spiders and humans were experimented on, test tubes preserving human bodies, and torture devices scattered across cold metal rooms. You don't even need lore to feel it, you know something awful happened here. And to mention the spiders again, a masterstroke of horror and frustration. Whether you love or hate them, they are unnerving at the end of the day. Hearing them crawl nearby, unseen but close, triggers real discomfort for anyone even mildly arachnophobic. This map also hits hard on claustrophobia. Navigating tight underwater tunnels to power the facility or recover the Skull subway can distort players pretty fast. Get turned around for even a second and you risk getting trapped and cornered by the keepers. And this might be a bit of a stretch, but the fear of thalassophobia, a fear of deep water, the area where you recover the KT4 plant is a panic-inducing nightmare. The limited air, narrow vision, something possibly just lurking around. It honestly reminds me of Sonic's drowning music. It brings that fear and just chaos. And as I've mentioned before, the Thrashers. The real stuff of nightmares. They're fast, brutal, and can literally eat you alive in co-op. One mistake and your teammate has to save you or it's game over. And as the rounds go higher, their health skyrocket. Your best bet is to use the Skull subway, but it's limited use and needing to recharge after. If you're faced with 2 or 3 Thrashers, better start praying. Or worse, they can spawn directly in front of you, and if you accidentally shoot their spores, congratulations, you just spawned another one. It turns this whole map into a careful dance where even defending yourself can punish you. Honestly, I'd argue the Thrasher is scarier and more dangerous than the Black Ops 2 Panzer. The KT4 and its upgraded form, the Masamune, sparked some mixed opinions when Zetsubou first dropped. Naturally, it was immediately compared to the legendary Sliquifire from Dire Eyes, a fan-favorite wonder weapon from Black Ops 2, and I mean, how could it not be compared? And people within the zombie community treat the Sliquifire like this holy grail. It was absolutely game-breaking, and there was just no other wonder weapon like it, even when trying to compare it to the KT4 Masamune. It just couldn't get on that level ever. But is the Masamune on that original pre-patch Sliquifire level? No, never in a million years. But with the right setup, the Masamune earned its place in the high round meta. The Masamune dealt infinite damage, it was great for crowd control, and also it melted Thrashers like butter. You did have to be a little bit more tactical with the Thrashers since they could run through the sludge, but after a couple seconds they did disappear and you were good to go. And this was great because it was effective, but more importantly, it was reliable. Whether you were a casual player looking to survive past round 20 or a masochist trying to break round 100, this weapon gave you options. And if you had a big galaxy brain moment, you could pair it with the plant system and just completely set yourself up for future rounds. Think backup quick revives from DNA pods, blue plants fertilized for an attempt at max ammos, or even manipulating RNG by restarting your run to make sure that the hidden cobweb drop ends up being a clutch max ammo for the late game. You could get real sweaty with the strategizing and planning in Zetsubou, but it rewarded you at the end. If Shadows of Evil is this undisputed champ of atmosphere in zombie maps, then Zetsubou No Shima is absolutely taking the silver medal, maybe even sealing the gold on a technicality. The lighting, the map layout, the eerie design, it's all dialed in. Everything feels deliberate and handcrafted, like Treyarch was flexing their environmental design muscles, and man, did they flex hard. The rusted machinery, abandoned weapons, busted traps, they all feel like they belong here and make sense. And nothing sticks out like a sore thumb, and at no point do you find yourself asking, why is this even here? Even the crashed planes make perfect sense. You got the storms raging above you, fighter planes battling it out in the skies, and it's chaos up there. It's just unfortunate that some unlucky pilot nosedived into the island. But the world building just works. And the lighting, don't even get me started about the lighting. It's a masterpiece. I thought Shadows had peak visuals, and it does, don't get me wrong, but Zetsubou went full next level with it. The lighting within the jungle or the labs flickering with haunting energy at every inch of the map, at every inch of the facility screams, you are not welcome here. And that's awesome. And something like that, that's great. I miss that feeling. Especially during the bunker reveal, the transition from the creepy, swampy jungle to the full-on sci-fi horror facility is just so smooth and immersive. You can tell Treyarch poured love into every square inch of this map. Even the stuff you'll never see outside the map, unless you're a degenerate like me who no-clips around just to peek inside zombie spawn barriers and admire all the lighting. I had an absolute blast on stream just walking around, pointing out skulls in the swamp, and trying to figure out what terrifying lore they buried in the corners. The detail in Zetsubou is just perfect. It's like the developers are telling a story without ever saying a word, and they nailed it. But hold on, this video isn't about how gorgeous Zetsubou is, it's about how it went from one of the worst maps to one of the most respected. So when did the hate turn into love? I'm not gonna lie, I don't have an exact timeline for when the Zetsubou No Shima redemption arc kicked in, but during the time between Infinite Warfare and beyond within future Call of Duty titles, people naturally just look back at older titles if they aren't happy with the current COD release, and they ask themselves certain questions like, was it really that bad? It's kind of like that moment when you revisit a movie you hated as a kid and suddenly realize, hold on, wait, this movie kind of slaps. Same thing happened with Black Ops 4. Honestly, at launch everyone dunked on it, and a few years later, it's getting love left and right. It's like we've all collectively decided to stop being so grumpy and give things a second chance. Maybe it's nostalgia or maturity, or maybe it's the fact that modern Call of Duty feels less like a game and more like a fashion show with guns. Or maybe it's because we're getting older and taxes are draining our will to live. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Justin Trudeau. Oh wait, I mean Mark Carney. It doesn't matter anyways. Someone's got my wallet either way. Personally, I had this exact moment with World War II Zombies. I went into the Final Reich expecting the worst, mainly because the internet told me to hate it, but once I actually gave it a shot, I loved it. The atmosphere, the challenge, it all clicked. If you're curious, I made a video on that too. I definitely recommend you check it out. But back to Zetsubou. If you've never played it, you're genuinely missing out. It's not just challenging, it's rich with gameplay. It's the kind of map that rewards mastery and creativity. It really is a shame that the newer CODs seem to care more about selling Seth Rogen and anime skins than crafting rich, immersive experiences like Zetsubou No Shima offered. Even nowadays with the most modern Call of Duty Zombies map, it feels like nothing can compare to Zetsubou's creepy atmosphere or intricate plant mechanics, and a solid, if occasionally frustrating, Easter egg. It just hit different. And it wasn't perfect, but it had a soul. And that's something that Call of Duty is missing nowadays. So what are your thoughts about Zetsubou No Shima? Do you think it was more of a buggy mess than a playable experience? Or do you believe the game's unique mechanics like the plant system just needed a bit of time and patience to truly appreciate it? Don't get me wrong, I get it. When Treyarch drops a new mechanic, it can feel overwhelming at first, but with little practice and maybe a few failed runs, it all starts to click. And honestly, once you understand it, there's a lot to love about it. I just want to say thank you guys for watching this video. I spend a ton of time working on projects like these, and if you really like this video, make sure to check out my other Black Ops 3 documentary or retro style videos. I also spend a ton of time on them, so the support is always appreciated. I even made a documentary about Call of Duty Infinite Warfare Zombies, so if you want to look at a different game, check that one out as well. And hey, if you made it this far, why not consider subscribing? I truly appreciate anything. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you soon.